folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more leaders. We're up against one VM. One very much. Don't know pronouns, so we'll just assume male because it's one. We've got Acrobat, Brewmaster, and Bruiser. I like all three of these characters. I really want to try Bruiser-Archer combo. I haven't actually done it except in my mind. But if my opponent takes the Bruiser, I'm very happy with the Brewmaster and the Acrobat, regardless of anything that comes out of here. And if something else comes out that is exciting, of course, I would be happy with that as well. Some, illusionist action is always fun. It's always fun just to check to see if the opponent's aware that the illusionist can swap places, All right, my opponent takes the Brewmaster, so you have to be very, very careful with that. Now, I'm going to move my leader, and I get two choices here. I think I'm gonna start with the Bruiser. We're gonna try to see if we can get the combo with the Archer and the Bruiser. And I'll put the Bruiser here, I think. We don't get the Archer. So what I'm gonna do is grab the Acrobat and think a little bit about placement. I'm not sure I'm gonna really get much better than just being able to jump, up to here. Although I guess if I move the Bruiser up, I can jump here, which is seemingly a little bit better. But I don't like to load everything up in the same, on the same side. Because if I put the Acrobat here, the opponent can just move the king over. Which maybe is okay. I don't know. It's a tough one. Here, why don't we just put the Acrobat there, and then we have some flexibility. All right, there's the Royal Guard, a very fun character. I really like the Royal Guard with the Vizier, because then you can move your leader really far, and then spawn the Royal Guard next to the leader, and then also move the Royal Guard, so you can potentially land a surprise hit. I wouldn't be surprised if my opponent takes the Royal Guard, because I do think the Assassin and Nemesis are a little janky. This is one of the things about this game is, obviously as far as balance is concerned, it is a drafting game, so it's okay that things are not equally powerful. I think that would be completely silly, actually, to try to make all the characters be equally powerful, but it does seem that some of the characters are just outright janky, and that, is something that, you'd think that you'd want to try to fix. All right, we got the Wanderer, which I will definitely take, although the Wanderer is better to take before the Acrobat. Let's say I had the Wanderer instead of the Bruiser right here. I could have, put the Acrobat here, move the Wanderer here, and then just go bam with the Acrobat. As it is, the order is a little off, but because the Assassin and Nemesis kind of both suck, I think I will be taking the Wanderer. So in any case, we'll just move the Bruiser up. We'll launch the Acrobat here. I think my leader's fine where he is. And then we are going to just take the Wanderer. You have to be a little bit cautious. Actually, hold on. I maybe should have moved the leader, because my opponent actually has this move. They can go Royal Guard here. No, they can Brewmaster the king here, Royal Guard spawn here, and then just get right next to my leader. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but then of course that would require their king to be pretty close. Okay, anyway, I'm taking the Wanderer. It doesn't really matter where the Wanderer goes. We'll just put it off to the side. And we'll try to jump into the closest space that we can. Now, my opponent has a pretty unfortunate selection here. They got Jank Assassin, Jank Nemesis, and then the Protector, who is a good character, but it's not like a fun character. It's one of those things where it's defensive and can be really good in certain situations, but it's just not super fun. However, I'm also kind of annoyed about this because my opponent's almost really going to take it, and this is a hard counter to the Bruiser. The Protector stops himself and all adjacent allies from being moved by enemy abilities. And that is, a bit of a problem. Because the Protector doesn't even have to be in front of the Bruiser. The Protector just has to be adjacent to somebody who would like to be bruised in order to be very effective. So here, my opponent should probably recruit in one of these two spots to stop the Wanderer from jumping in there, because it kind of cuts off the leader from one end, and then the Acrobat's coming around to the side. The Assassin, very interesting choice. I'm surprised by this, because it's going to be difficult for the Assassin to get over to my leader. My opponent is playing it smart with the positioning, cutting off my Acrobat's jumps, I could jump backwards and forwards. I could also... I can't put the Wanderer there. I can't... I don't think I can do any great jumps with the Acrobat, but I don't think I need to. I think we're just going to go here with the Wanderer. We'll just step up with the Acrobat. Put the Bruiser here. And then the question is, do I want to move my leader? I could try to move the leader over, but I don't want to move it closer to the assassin. I also don't want to put it over here. Yeah, I think I'm fine with just the illusionist. Leader sitting where it is, and I could take the protector to stop my opponent from having a protector. But the illusionist, I think, is really strong right here, because at least it's quite threatening immediately. I'm threatening to swap with the Brewmaster and just win the game. So my opponent has to attend to that, and, you know, that can cause some problems potentially. But we'll see how my opponent decides to play it, whether they want to be aggressive or not, because they have to be very careful with the Acrobats jumping. That's always, you know, something that they need to watch for. And the Bruiser, if my opponent doesn't take the Protector, can just push his way up to the enemy king. So what would I do in my opponent's shoes here? I think you got to put your Royal Guard here to stop the Illusionist from swapping with the Brewmaster. I'm just trying to figure out if it makes sense to use the Brewmaster. Maybe you could like Brewmaster the Royal Guard and then move the Royal Guard up to the enemy leader. And now I have to play a little bit defensively. Ah, my opponent's charging ahead with the Brewmaster. Okay, that's interesting. That does... Oh, gee, I don't know what that is. Oh, God. Because now my Illusionist can swap with the Brewmaster, and the leader and the Brewmaster have both moved. My opponent sees my opponent catches the mistake and undoes. Now, in this game, you cannot restart your turn, which is, I think, a little bit interesting. In most board game arena games, there's a button to just restart your turn. However, the designer on the forums, I can't remember if it was here or on Board Game Geek, said that they don't want that. They don't want the ability to just restart freely. That's just, you know, part of the game is making your choices and living with them. So it seems to be intentional that you can only undo your last action, not your entire turn. All right, so my opponent is in a little bit of a pickle here. I cannot win, but my opponent did catch themselves and stop a total disaster from happening. I need to be a little bit careful how I approach this, because I could still very much lose from this point on. I'm guessing they're going to take the Manipulator because it's a bit too late for the Protector. But I think I'm gonna play it aggressively here. I think I'm going to swap with the Brewmaster, because the Brewmaster can touch me, that's fine. And the Illusionist and the Wanderer and the Bruiser stepping up and the Acrobat all coming towards the enemy leader, I feel like is worth it. Even if none of them are touching, technically, at the end of the turn. I think it's worth it in exchange just for having one character touching my hero. Alright, let me just check for jumps. Any crazy way I could do jumps? Wanderer... No, my opponent's doing a really good job blocking the jumps. So we're going to definitely just step in with... Well, hold on. I could put the Wanderer back here, right? That's a very interesting possibility. If I do that... Well, then the Manipulator can make the Wanderer move away, which I'm not a fan of. No, we're just gonna get up to the enemy leader like this. We're now gonna go here with the Acrobat. So we're not doing any acrobatics with the Acrobat today. We're just trying to get close to the enemy leader. We're gonna have the Bruiser just move up. And yeah, we're gonna take the gamble. We are going to swap with this Brewmaster. The nice thing about this is that my opponent's Brewmaster can't use his power here, because my opponent is just has this Brewmaster that's not next to any enemy pieces. Now the leader, I think, should probably move. I just need to make sure I can't get checkmated by the Royal Guard. Like the Royal Guard goes here and here. It's really close. But I don't want to go near the assassin. So yeah, we'll do this. It is risky, but that's one thing I like about this game, is that it really rewards you for playing riskily. Alright, so my opponent marches up with the assassin, very logical. I'm curious how they're going to stop checkmate. I actually don't know how my opponent stops checkmate here. It seems a little tricky to do. Oh, I see. There is a way to do it. Because, well, maybe not. Maybe not. I was thinking maybe you go here with your leader, here with the illusionist, and then I can't actually push, but that's not true because I can move up with the acrobat and then push, and then the royal guard gets away that way. Oh, yes, the leader moves that way. Okay. So then you put the royal guard here. I don't know, because the illusionist can swap places with whoever you use to block this spot. Ah, you put no one here. Okay, now that's how it works. You put the royal guard here, you put no one here. No, but then I can swap with the leader themselves, and then my leader... No, I cannot swap, because then my leader would be in checkmate. Ah, but if I move my leader here where it's not touching anyone else, then I could swap with the enemy leader. Okay, well, this seems like a problem now. Because I could just swap with the illusionist. Okay, I don't know if my opponent thinks that he's getting out of checkmate, or if this is just like a, a try, an attempt. It's a pretty good attempt, because I cannot swap with the illusionist. Unluckily for my opponent, however, this assassin is just one square away from where it needs to be. If the assassin were here, this would be a very different story. But because the assassin is here, I can just do... Actually, it's not that big of a thing. I don't even need my leader. I could, okay, I could have moved my leader just away, and then, actually, this is, I know, a little bit complicated. Okay, if my opponent had not blocked the leader with the illusionist, okay, then I could have just moved my leader away from the illusionist, swapped with the leader for the leader to be here, and then just moved the wanderer back for checkmate. Or I could have put the leader here and then just used the leader for checkmate. As it is, we simply move the leader so that when I swap with this illusionist, my lone leader is not in checkmate, which, by the way, you cannot do. It is illegal to put yourself into checkmate. Then I step up with the wanderer normally, and that's the game. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.